Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville Zoning Hearing Board meeting for June 2nd, 2021. Would you please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Sharon, roll call, please.
Mr. Rosapel?
Here.
Mr. Grisiak?
Here.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Here.
Mr. Gagos?
Here.
Ms. Wilkins?
Here.
Mr. Dice?
Here.
Mr. Weldon?
Here.
Thank you, Sharon. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
Motion to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Paul, new business, please.
First item, 21-13-A, Bonnie Luketic. Applicant requests a variance from section 207.3 lot and yard requirements of the Monroeville zoning ordinance number 1443 as amended to construct a 24-foot by 24-foot detached garage that will encroach approximately 18 feet into the required 30-foot front yard setback along Hawkeye Drive. The property is located at 701 Illini Drive, tax parcel 11006K010 in the R2 one-family residential zoning district and is a corner lot.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant present tonight?
Yes.
Let's come forward, please. Sign in. State your name for the secretary. Have you both signed in? You're both going to speak. State your name for the secretary, please.
Bonnie Luketic.
I'm Daniel Luketic.
You both raise your right hands, please. You're going to testify. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give this board tonight shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. State your case.
Yeah, just seeing if we can put the garage in our side yard there, because I need the storage room and for vehicles. Because I'm on a corner lot, and plus it'll give me a little more privacy, because my backyard's wide open, you know. That's basically all it is, just to see if we can get the garage put in there.
Now, I noticed from the pictures here, you have a driveway,
The driveway,
and then the grass, and then you have a shed in the backyard.
shed's in the back corner,
There's the picture of her.
and then,
So is it gonna go to is the shed, or is the garage starting at the end of the asphalt, the driveway, and
it's
then the
gonna
shed?
be 5 feet back from the driveway, starting. And then I know where the sewage line is, because they dug it up when we bought the home.
Okay,
And I'm plenty in front of that. You know, that's why, I'm like up the house toward the driveway a little bit from the front.
and what about the shed? Is the shed coming down then? Or is there enough space for the
No, the
garage?
shed's in the
Shed's
back,
new.
back corner
Okay,
yard.
okay.
About a year old, huh?
2 years?
2 years ago.
2 years.
Yeah.
All right.
There was one there, but I tore the old one down because it was getting all rotted,
Okay.
you know.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience that has anything to say? I'm sorry, is that all you have?
Yeah, it's,
Okay, anybody in the audience wish to come forward? Paul, we have anything on this at all?
No correspondence in favor or opposition.
Okay. Any board members have any more questions? Mr. Dice? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second the motion.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, call, move, please.
Second item, 21-14-A, CVL/Monroeville LP. Applicant requests a variance from section 308 off-street parking requirements of the Monroeville zoning ordinance number 1443 as amended to reduce the required amount of parking, which was set at 6,550 spaces as per zoning hearing board decision 15-26-A to 5,700 spaces, a reduction of 850 spaces. The property is the Monroeville Mall, tax parcel 639F075 in the C2 Business Commercial Zoning District.
Okay, thank you. The applicant present, would you come forward, please? You signed in yet?
I did, yes.
Both signed in?
We did. Yep.
Okay, state your name for the secretary.
David Newhoff.
Sean Roberts?
Okay, would you raise your right hands, please? You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this board tonight will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you. Thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for your consideration of our variance. This is a big night for Monroeville Mall. It's a big night for the community, Monroeville community, and it's a big night for our honored veterans who have served our country so courageously. Our specific request tonight is to amend the required number of parking spaces for mall guests. This variance would then allow for a subdivision of approximately 6.5 acres of existing parking area for the development of a brand-new first-class medical use, the VA Primary Care Clinic. This variance request is the first step towards that subdivision process. As you may have heard, seen, read, the retail industry is, in particular malls, have faced many challenges today. The digital world and the shopper behavior have certainly evolved over the past few years. COVID in the last year alone did not help things either. Large regional 100% retail facilities, they face challenges unless we evolve and adapt. They're gonna face dire issues here. One of the ways that we can adapt and evolve is by introducing new mixed uses to the property, which sometimes when you do that, it creates a more dense development, which then can affect the parking counts in these properties that are required by code. This is an issue not only CBL faces, but other developers throughout the country who have large retail facilities. They're going to be facing the same thing in the communities that they reside. At CBL, our redevelopment team is strategizing on how we can adapt and add uses that will provide sustainability, longevity for our properties. Each market is different. Each location has different demand drivers. Sometimes it involves non-retail or mixed use, and with that, sometimes it requires parking change. In our planning with other properties, we've spoken with many municipalities, and unanimously, they are aware that parking demands are down and mall traffic has diminished. When initially developed these properties, they were huge parking fields to meet code at the time and to satisfy department stores in the 5 or 6 busiest days of the years where every space theoretically was used. Turns out, over time, those expansive lots really aren't needed, and they can now be used, and there are huge opportunities to introduce new uses to the campus without neglecting the needs of the mall shopper. These are underutilized areas which can now be monetized as well as added to the tax base. We've been fortunate to work recently with other municipalities in some of our redevelopment efforts to bring non-retail uses to these properties: medical, hotels, convention centers, grocery, office, and in some, we're working on 2 multifamily residential developments as well as part of them. Even in Pennsylvania here, we did 2 casinos in 2 of our projects. As you know, in 2015, we requested and were granted a reduced parking from 6,834 spaces to 6,550. That allowed us to bring our ADA requirements to code. Today, we're asking to reduce from 6,550 spaces to 5,700 spaces specific to the mall. The clinic requires their own subdivided parcel, so we would pull those spaces that would be within that parcel out of the mall count. Even with this reduction, we will still meet and maintain our contractual obligations to our mall tenants and anchor stores. The anchors have seen the proposed project and they're fully supportive of it, embrace it, and are welcoming it to the property. But we can't move to the next step without this variance, and that's why tonight's agenda item is very important to us. This would be an incredible addition to the community, be an incredible addition to the campus, could be a catalyst for other mixed-use type uses that would come to the mall. Call it home. The infrastructure is in place. We have a lot of momentum that would be able to use in a positive way to bring more uses to the mall. So, again, we appreciate your consideration, and at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Sean Roberts with Summit Smith Development.
Yes, good evening. Yeah, and I'm with the developer of the proposed VA clinic, and I'm here to support David and CBL and provide any feedback to the board members that they may have questions on. We did have some visuals. I know everyone's familiar with the property, but wanted to kind of show where the proposed clinic would be going. So it's really on the eastern side of the mall, in the Macy's parking lot. The area in yellow is the proposed subdivision area. We have made our application formally through Paul's office from my end for the subdivision and the site plan approval. We expect to be in front of Planning Commission in June and hopefully in front of a Common Council in July. And then, moving forward to subdivision there, we were lucky enough to win a very competitive national search for the run by the General Service Administration for the Department of Veterans Affairs. Monroeville was one of several local municipalities that were within their delineated area for the project. It took almost 2 years through a competitive procurement process, and the VA really liked the location, and my firm has done 8 other VA clinics across the country. So between our experience and the location, the VA really wanted to be at this location, and we worked it out with CBL through a purchase and sale agreement that would allow us to meet the VA's requirements. This will be a privately owned and developed clinic. The VA, through the GSA, is the tenant, so it's a fully taxable project. It's a long-term 20-year lease. They typically stay a lot longer than that, but it is not a federal project, and it is not a federal or government-owned facility. It's a privately owned clinic that just so happens to have the VA as the tenant. And I think we'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Do you have the availability to show these pictures to the folks at home?
Yeah.
You would, so the people at home can see what we're talking about.
Sure.
Excuse me. If you don't.
Yeah, well, if it turns on there, I think that...
You know what, is this overhead working at all?
It
can
is.
put it
Do
on.
you
No,
have,
it's on. There we go.
Oh, there you go, okay.
Yeah, so...
They were up there.
Just kind of backtracking, this is the current campus, kind of showing on the screen, on the left side of the screen is the Macy's parking lot. And that's where we're talking about when we go down to the area. The area highlighted in yellow is the proposed subdivided. It's just under 6.6 acres. That application has been made. As David mentioned, this is the first step to allow them all, to proceed with that subdivision that we require. Some renderings, the ring road, Mall Circle Drive goes around. The front door will face the Macy's main entry, and the VA requires their parking field. Obviously, we'll be developing this under the current standards. We'll have landscaping, stormwater requirements. The VA will have 500 parking spaces as part of this, as part of their requirements as well. So this will be basically taking a large chunk of the Macy's parking lot, which is highly underutilized, as David mentioned, and replacing it with a 70,000 square foot, 2-story medical clinic. I think, in the background, it's hard to see that image. I think David might have.
I think I have the same.
do you have any color renderings of the building? If not, I have some things.
Yeah, not on me, yeah, because we were, I know we'll be, for our project specifically, we'll be before Planning
You
Commission
can
and
lay them
council.
right in the center of the overhead there, don't forget.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
do that if
okay.
you want.
There we go. disciplinary.
A question while he's doing that.
Sure.
Are there any, is there any need for additional traffic controls, or will it just be stop signs going in and out of the property?
Yeah, well, we've submitted our application. We believe we are utilizing the existing artillery roads, and then, kind of utilizing the same flow within the parking field. So we do not anticipate, we submitted a traffic memo, which was part of our supplemental information, and we do not believe we're going to need any additional traffic controlling measures that don't already exist. The reality is the Mall Circle Drive was really designed for high traffic. As David mentioned, that's down, particularly from the peak in the 80s. So we do not anticipate having any additional traffic control required.
The Port Authority has a park and ride lot near the Firestone Station. Is that going to be moved, or is that encompassed in the?
Yeah, as actually as part of our submittal, the VA is very sensitive to that because they have their customer base uses Port Authority, and one of their requirements was having easy bus access. So we were able to talk with the Port Authority and submitted a letter of support from them to our development team, working with CBL, talking about relocating the park and ride and making sure the existing bus stops serve this facility when it comes online. That's a big concern for them. They want to make sure they maintain access, and frankly, their ridership will grow with this type of use.
When do you estimate, if you get all the approvals, will you open the building?
Our goal, assuming again we get all the approvals, is to start construction in early fall and to turn over the building to the VA as early as late 2022. Now then they have to staff up and get their people staffed and trained and all their equipment in there, but I believe they would be seeing patients in early 2023.
Just out of curiosity, was there a reason why you chose the Macy's side versus the Dick side of the property, or was there really any consideration for that?
Yeah, I think actually, we spent some time talking, my group with David's group, talking about whether the annex made sense or other locations. But really, based on their requirements and their parking need, frankly, they needed those 500 spaces. The spot that fit, and based on really that part of the parking lot is the least utilized in the entire campus. So it really was a natural fit for both of us and for CBL.
That's right, yeah.
Any studies as to when the last time that mall parking lot was fully full?
That's a great question.
Christmas of what, 1960? No.
I was gonna say maybe 79, 80. It's a great question. I don't know the answer.
That's okay.
We took ownership in the early 2000s, right when Turnberry was designing and developing the district part of that. I would imagine it's been a while.
It's been a while since
Yeah.
you had to drive around to find his parking spot.
Which is why what we're talking about just feels like it makes so much sense. And
Yeah, it's gonna fill those empty spaces.
it really is, and it's just, it's gonna bring some activity, and
It's also great convenience to the
So
veterans.
that's-
no question about it.
Board members, any questions?
What other locations do the veterans have? Is it down, what's the other the closest locations?
Yeah, this is part of nationally what they call a hub and spoke model. So right now, this outpatient clinic is part of the push to get people from having to go all the way into Oakland to the main medical center campus. So similar to our other clinics, what they'll do is they'll make these satellite outpatient clinics, which are essentially primary care. This will also have physical therapy and very limited radiology, an eye clinic, but mostly primary care. So that prevents vets from having to go all the way to Oakland, and then that frees up space at the medical center in Oakland to be repurposed for inpatient and bigger surgeries, things like that. So this really is taking the eastern side of Pittsburgh, which isn't well served, and instead of them going all the way into Oakland, we're going to be able to come here.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? Anybody in the audience have anything to bring forth? Paul, any problems with this?
No correspondence.
Okay, so the people at home are aware, in case they missed the point, this is a taxable property that's going into the mall that will bring monies to Monroeville, and it will bring monies to the mall, hopefully. People will come there to shop. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Excuse me. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank
Good luck, gentlemen.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Give these back to you.
Oh, thank you. if you would, please.
Last item tonight is 21-15-A, Michael Hampshire. Applicant requests a variance from section 207.3 lot and yard requirements of the Monroeville zoning ordinance number 1443 as amended to construct a 12-foot by 16-foot deck to the existing house that will encroach approximately 9 feet into the required 10-foot side yard setback. The property is located at 613 Winterberry Road, tax parcel 742L258 in the R2 one-family residential zoning district.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? Want to come forward, please? Make sure you're signed in. State your name for the secretary.
Michael Hampshire.
Would you raise your right hand, please? You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this evening will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Is that your case?
I'm just gonna push this here if you can see that. So, from the back of my house to the property line is approximately 14 feet. So I would like to do from the back of the house to out 12 feet. So that maintains I'm in the property line. Previously, there was a concrete pad that was actually 1.5 feet over the property line. And my back door is actually at right there, so I don't really have any other options being a side lot to, shrink the deck or anything. I'm still within that variance that I'm not allowed to build. So I asked that you would grant the motion so I could build the deck.
So the picture up there right now, that's the back of the house?
Yes. But you're looking at the side from the street, but that's my backyard.
Board members, any other questions? Paul, anything on this from the neighbors or anybody?
No correspondence in favor or opposition.
Okay, there's nobody in the audience to come forth, so I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, may I have a second?
I second the motion.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good luck.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing nothing else, I'll entertain one more motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Meeting is adjourned.